Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, January 30th of 2024. We are convening a session of the Tax Review Board. Today's category is water revenue. My name is Melissa Andre. I'm the Executive Director of the Tax Review Board, and I am required to remind everybody that please be aware that this is a public hearing and it is being recorded. Because the meeting is public, participants and viewers have no expectation of privacy. And by continuing to be in this meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. At this time, I'm going to note for the record that I have 4 board members, our chair, Paula Weiss, Nancy Cameradiner, John O'Connor, and George Matthews, who are board members. Paula?
Good afternoon, everyone. Session of the Tax Review Board for January 30th, 2024 is in session. Before we turn to our first petitioner, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping regarding our docket. Case number 5, ending in 9159 for the property 1601 North 15th Street has been continued prior to today, and presumably the parties are engaging in settlement talks, but they have a date certain should those settlement talks not bear fruit for May 14th, 2024. So that matter is now off the docket for today. We're going to start today with item number 3 on our docket, ending in 9790 for the property 3147 North 8th Street. And I am going to turn to the petitioner who is in our office in another room. Ms. Frazier, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Could you please state your name and identify yourself for the record?
My name is Chanel T. Frazier.
Ms. Frazier, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in today's matter will be the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. If you'll just bear with us for a moment, we're going to turn to the city's representatives for identification purposes and also to have them read into the record the amounts and periods of time that are in dispute before us today. Mr. Saifedean, take it away.
Good afternoon. This is Kareem Saifedean, counsel of the City Law Department, counsel for the Water Revenue Bureau. And my witness today is Ms. Taliba Hike of the Water Revenue Bureau.
Good afternoon, Ms. Hike. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in today's matter will be the truth? And are you on mute? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. The petitioner is questioning the periods of February 3rd, 2020.
Get sworn in.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't catch your swearing in. We didn't catch your ID.
Yes, you didn't hear me? Yes.
Yes, you do. Okay, now the amounts and periods in question.
Okay, the petitioner is questioning the periods from February 3rd, 2020 through August 3rd, 2022. Principal amount of $10,598.43. There is $667.35 in penalties, as well as $182.90 in liens, totaling $11,448.68.
Thank
you. Mr. Saifedean, any opening comments?
Yes. So while this period stated it runs from 2020 through 22, the major period of dispute, and allow me to briefly double check the numbers. The major period of dispute is February of 2022 through May of 2022, during which there was a very high usage spike. However, all readings on this property are actual and progressive. The petitioner herself suggested that there had been running toilets in the property, and the city will present records to that effect. Accordingly, the board should not adjust the principal. The city does not take any position as to the adjustment of penalty. As usual, the city reminds the board that lien fees are not within the jurisdiction of the board to adjust.
All right. Ms. Frazier, we're going to turn to you now. Please tell us why you're here today, what you're looking for from this board.
I'm here today because the property is a vacant property. No one lives at their house, at their property. A couple years ago, I had taken the squatters that was in the house. They was living on the property and they were squatters. A lot of people was living in the house. I took them to court. And in fact, I took them to court 2 times. And the sheriff department had put them out the house. They gave them a certain amount of days to get out. The sheriff went there to to get them off the property. So no one is not living on that property. I have my vacant license from Illinois. And when I came to court before, the sheriff, I have it where the sheriff department had put the people out the house. So no one isn't living at the house. And I had the water turned off. So I should not have a bill high as it is. It shouldn't be that high because no one lived there. I don't live there.
So, Ms. Frazier, how long has the property been vacant?
I don't want to lie to you because I don't have the paper that y'all had from before. It tells you when the sheriff had put the people out the house, off the premises.
I don't know that we have that paper in front of us. That may have been a different office that you presented that to. I don't know. Was there a hearing officer case?
Yes, there is a copy of the vacant property license, but there is nothing in regards to the sheriff paperwork. I have a copy of a vacant property license from 2022. Oh, I'm sorry, there is. I apologize. There is it says, this is from the Sheriff's Office of Philadelphia, 6/12/2019, that the deputy from the Sheriff's Office served the complainant by handing a copy to the person at the property. And this was June 27th of 2019.
Okay. All right, Mr. Safety, I'm going to turn it over to you for questions.
Thank you very much. One moment, please. I'm going to do a quick cross-examination of Ms. Fraser, if you don't mind. Ms. Fraser, you own 3147 North 8th Street, correct?
Yes.
You've owned it since 2018, correct?
I do what? I'm sorry.
You've owned it since 2018, correct?
Yes, sir. My grandfather signed it over to me.
Okay, that's your grandfather who transferred it? Okay,
Yes, Billy Brooks.
okay. And this property is a single-family row home, correct?
Yes.
And you do not reside there, correct?
No, I don't live there.
Okay. And it previously had squatters, is that what your testimony is?
There's squatters in there because I had took them to court. In fact, I took them to court like 2 times.
Were they removed? Do you remember precisely when they were removed? Not when they were served with your ejectment action, but when they were actually physically removed from the property?
The sheriff, on that piece of paper, the sheriff, when they went to serve them the paper, that's when they had to be evicted out the house. The sheriff had put them out the house. The sheriff had
Okay.
gave them half an hour to get their belongings out the house. And they took some of their belongings with them. And the sheriff said to give them 30 more days for them to get their stuff out.
Did they actually leave after 30 days or did they remain in the property past 2019?
They left. They left, and they never they never called to say that they want their stuff out the house.
Okay. Did you personally visit the property at any time between 2019 and 2022?
The property was visited, yeah. And
By you personally?
me personally,
Yes. Did you go to the property between 2019 and 2022?
I went there, but not to stay there.
I mean, yes, I'm asking, were you physically at the property at any time between 2019 and 2022?
Yeah, I just went there and look and turn back around. I wasn't going inside there.
Oh, so you did not enter the property at any time?
I went inside, but it was no one in there. I mean, there's no electricity or nothing in there. Nothing at all. I mean, I wouldn't. It's not a place that I would want to, I wouldn't go in there to live, because the house things has to be done in there.
Mhm. Okay, now, moving onward, setting aside whether or not anyone was actually in the property, there was an issue with running, indeed overflowing toilets at this property, correct?
Yes, I had sent the a plumber in there, a contractor, to make
And this
sure
happened,
that the
and this,
water was turned
and
off.
this happened, sorry, my apologies. I couldn't quite tell when you were finished. And this was in the winter through spring of 2022 that there was this issue, correct?
Yes, they turned the water off.
Hmm. But before the water was turned off, there was an overflowing toilet, correct?
Uh, before the water was turned off. Wait a minute.
Before the water was turning, the reason you turned the water off is there was an overflowing toilet. Is that not correct?
Yes, overflowing toilet. Yes,
And that was in the spring of 2022, correct?
I guess. Yes. I don't know. Someone had broken there. Broke into the house because the neighbors told me that they had seen people coming out the house. That's what the neighbors had told me.
Thank you. Now you're saying you had a plumber come into the property. Did they give you a report? A written report?
No, only thing they see that they checked to see, was the water running, the overflow of the toilet, and they said they turned the water off.
Okay.
Again,
But they did not give you a written report.
no, they didn't give me a written report. I mean, that was in 2018, 2019, you said?
2022.
2022. No.
So I'd like to establish a quick survey of the property's water usage, just with some quick questions about the fixtures. How many bathrooms is it in the property?
One bathroom.
One bathroom. And it has a toilet and a faucet
Yes, there's a toilet and a faucet in it.
and a shower too?
No shower.
No shower. Okay. Is there a kitchen
There's a kitchen.
with a faucet?
The kitchen has a faucet, yes.
Is there laundry facilities in the property?
No.
Okay. That concludes my cross-examination of Ms. Fraser. If you'll allow me, I will now proceed to a direct examination of Ms. Hike.
Yes.
All right. Ms. Hike, where are bills for being sent for this account?
To an off-site mailing address, 8416 Temple Road.
Thank you. Has there been any actual usage in the property for the past 6 months?
We're on 8th Street.
I'm asking Ms. Hike.
No,
Okay. What charges appeared on the bill for this property for the periods January 5th, 2022 and May 2nd, 2022?
service and stormwater and usage.
Are all usage readings on this account at Progressive?
Yes,
Are all usage readings on this account actual or estimated?
actual.
Have technicians gained entry to this property since the petition? Have water department technicians gained entry to this property since the petitioner bought it in May 2018?
No,
Accepting adjustments applied due to a tax review board master's hearing or routine penalty waivers. Have there been any significant billing adjustments on this account since the petitioner bought the property in May 2018?
no.
Could you please briefly describe the payment history on this account?
So they have really a poor payment history.
Okay.
Can you explain a little more detail what that means?
Yes, let me go in and get you, let's see when the last payment was for you, Ms. Weiss.
Your voice is fading away.
They did make a payment this year, but prior to making the payment, they did make a payment in November 2023.
For how much?
$20.
Okay.
In October 2023, 50, and then it skips, and the next one is April in 23. From there, the next payment was July 2022. So maybe there was a few payments in 23, but no, in 22, there was 2 payments in 22. It's really sporadic. The most payments we see here is in 23.
And for small amounts?
Yes,
Mhm.
and then.
If I might be allowed to share my screen, I'll briefly show a printout of uh, of both the deed in this matter and of both the deed to the property, which shows Mr. Billy Brooks is transferred to Ms. Fraser in 2018. And that fact that that was recorded as a transfer from,
Well, stop, get back a minute. I just wanted to
Yes.
see what the consideration was.
let's try on the first page of the, well, is it here? Yes, it's
There
right.
it is. 20,000. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And the account history records, both of these documents were sent to the board last week. And the city would ask that both documents be included in the record, even though they weren't formally introduced as evidence. Because they are essentially reflective of the documents on which the city relied.
Why don't you just move them into evidence?
Okay, we'll move them into evidence if the board so pleases.
Yes, we'll accept it.
Okay. And one final item, Ms. Height. As of today, is water in terms of whether supply is shut off, okay, as distinguished from whether water is shut off at the curb by the water department, as opposed to any internal shutoffs that may have been performed by private plumbers. Is water on or off at this property?
Second, let me see if I can get to my screen. Could you unshare your screen? Thank you.
Yes. Done.
Give me a second, I'm just looking in bases. Looks like last time they were out, the shut off, I have a shut off for August 10th, 2022.
Is it, I'm saying as of now, what does VESA say? Is it on or off?
So let me see, hold on, wait a minute, give me a second, going up to 2023. It's,
Like on the main page?
looks like I see a restore here, hold on.
Restore.
It looked like the water was restored on August 14th, 2023.
Okay. So the water is currently on then?
Yes, it's on.
Okay.
It's on?
Yes, it's on.
Yes, it's,
Well, that doesn't mean it's on in the house. That means that as
It
far
could
as
have-
the
they could
city's
have it turned off
service
at
is
5.
concerned, water is available to the property.
And-
Should,
Yes.
yes,
and
that's
when-
all I was
when did you say
clarifying.
that- That happened? When did you say it was restored?
August 14th, 23.
yes.
Thank you.
That concludes my direct examination of Ms. Hike. If the petitioner has questions for Ms. Hike, obviously those are invited. And of course, if the board has further questions for Ms. Hike, she's available for cross-examination by the board as well.
All right, so let's start with Ms. Frazier. Did you have any questions for the city's witness?
I want to know, they said the water was restored. I don't know how the water was restored. I don't know if someone had to break in my house. It's like, again, like I said, I don't live there, but I'm working for United States Postal Service. I just go and check on the house. I don't know, because my work history, by me working the way I work, I don't have time to be going there like that, you know, to check in to see what's what. I don't know if someone break into the house or what, because I had complaints from the neighbors, front and back. They was calling me, complaining. They called the cops because electricity throughout the years before this situation, electricity was stolen from out the area.
All right, so Frazier, why don't we see if Ms. Hike has in her records what precipitated the restoring of the service?
Give me a second, I'm looking at bases, I'm looking at shrink it now to see if I can,
May I ask Ms. Frazier, are you asking physically how or why? Because if it's physically how, that's an easier question than why.
I'm thinking that if the water was turned back on, someone had to, if someone, would they break into the house to turn
It's
the
a
water
why.
on or something?
It's trying,
Yeah,
it's
so
trying
why,
That's a how. It's a how question.
yeah,
Chairwoman, that's a how. You want to know how they turned it off without getting in your house, right?
yeah, because I don't live there. I just go there, I check, you know, I don't live at their property. I live on 84.
Understood, ma'am.
All right, well,
Ms.
let's
Height?
get the panel, go ahead.
Ms. Height, can you explain, stop looking in intricate. I don't think that's necessary.
I'm
Um,
in basis too. I'm
Can
just trying
can
to
you
see if
explain
anyone.
ma'am, can you just, Ms. Height, can you just briefly explain how the city does shut off as opposed to how a private plumber might shut off shut off water in a property?
Well, the city will only come out to shut off for non-payment or non-compliance. If there's a defect there, they come out and shut it off, or if the service is if the account is delinquent, they'll come and turn the water off. The water could have possibly been restored because she placed a dispute. You know, in that case, in many cases, the service can be restored as well.
Ms. Height, I'm not asking why it would have been restored. I'm asking how the city turns water on and off.
Physically,
From outside physically?
yeah.
Oh,
What
Yes.
are they?
from the curb stop. If they go outside at the property, it's a curb stop in the ground in which the technicians come and turn the water on and off.
So you're
There's a valve
testifying, just to
outside.
clarify, that they don't need to enter
They
the
don't have to
property.
come inside of the
That's-
property. The technicians can turn it off and on from the curb stop outside.
And the curb stop, that's basically a valve, right?
It's a valve outside in the ground, on a place in the concrete that's usually outside of the property. And the technicians come out and they can turn it on and off from there without coming inside of the property. They don't have to enter the property.
So nobody broke in.
Okay, so I want to ask my fellow board members if anyone has any questions at this point for either side.
I have a question to the petitioner. Is there any pipe outside the building which is accessible to any of the people?
That was for you, Ms.
Ms.
Frazier.
Frazier, do you have
Yeah.
any outside access to water? Do you have a pipe or a spigot outside?
no. Do I have, wait, repeat that again? You said don't have any access to the building?
Outside, is there any
Outside.
way for somebody to turn on water? Do you have a spigot outside? If somebody wanted to hook up a hose or use water outside?
You know what, I really don't, I don't know if it's a hose on the outside. I think it's a hose. I'm not sure.
Okay, so the answer is yes.
There's a hose tap.
I think, yeah, it's the
Okay.
hose cat, no.
Okay, any other questions, George?
No, got it.
John?
No,
Nancy?
No.
Right, Mr. Safedine, do you have additional information?
I have no further information. If that concludes everything, I do have a short closing
Okay,
statement.
I have a question, and maybe Ms. Height can help. Is there an account history so that we could see actual usage month to month?
Yes, I sent that to you, Paula,
I missed it.
in a separate email. I apologize, but I
Oh.
definitely sent it to you.
All right, then, never mind. Mr. Safedine?
Just very briefly, the city understands that dealing with squatters and dealing with vacant properties is difficult. However, it doesn't change the fact that the readings in this property are actual and they're progressive, which means the water passed through the meter, and therefore it must be paid for. It has to be charged. You know, the city understands the difficulty and therefore would not takes no position on waiver of penalty in this case. But in terms of the principle, the city believes that that cannot be adjusted. There is no basis in law or equity to adjust the principle.
Okay. Do we want to step aside?
Sure, unless
Yes, please.
does the petitioner have anything else to say?
Ms. Frazier, do you have any closing comment?
One thing I have to say is that I should not be charged. I know I have to pay the water bill, but I don't live at their property and no one should not be in their house. Again, in that area, I don't know, probably not going there every day. It's been a while since I've been there. I just go there and check, whatever. But I don't know if in that area, someone had to break in the house because I was having things done in the house before I had the squatters put out. But it was discontinued, work was being discontinued or being done in the house, but no one should not be in the house.
Okay, I think we understand that.
Yeah, they shouldn't be there.
All right. You ready to go in the back?
Yeah,
Everybody
Yes.
just stay put. The board is going into another virtual room.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Are we back?
Everybody but John.
John?
Yes, there he is.
Okay, the tax review board is back in session, having considered all of the evidence presented by both the petitioner and the city. It's decision of the tax review board that for the period of time under consideration, which is, what is it, 2/30/20 to 8/3/2022, that as to the merits and principle of this bill, tax review board is denying petitioner's request. We are, however, abating the penalty and providing 60 days to enter into a payment agreement with the Water Revenue Bureau. We think that it's important for the petitioner to understand that whether living in the property or not, it is always the owner's responsibility to monitor water and usage and is responsible for the payment of that. So you will get a letter from the tax review board with our decision in about 2 weeks. You'll get an adjusted bill from the Water Revenue Bureau that I believe is marked tax review board bill. You'll have 60 days from that time to be in touch with Revenue Department representatives to enter into a payment agreement in order to take advantage of the principle that we have abated, the penalty that we have abated today. So thank you very much for coming in and good luck with all of that.
All right, thank you.
And we are
George Matthews, I concur with the decision.
Nancy Cameron, I concur.
I concur, John O'Connor.
and Paula Weiss, I concur as well. So thank you, Ms. Frazier.
All right, thank you.
And we are moving on to case that is marked number 4. Last 4 digits of the docket, 9543 for the property 6715 Linmore Avenue. Wait for the petitioner to enter the room.
Thank you. Don't forget to keep your voice nice and loud, okay?
Okay.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Paula Weiss, Chair of the Tax Review Board. Could you identify yourself, please, for the record?
Baz Kamara.
Mr. Kamara, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We're going to turn now to the city's representatives for them to provide us with the dollar amounts and periods under question.
Okay.
The petitioner is questioning the period from April 18th, 2022 through January 16th, 2023. A principal amount of $7,621.51, $697.94 in penalties, as well as $182.90 in liens, totaling $8,502.35.
Thank you. Mr. Safety, any opening remarks?
Yes, so this is another case where reading you don't need a further, do you need a further introduction from me, by the way? Or are we good?
You could, just for Mr. Kamara's benefit.
This is Kareem Safety, counsel for the City of Philadelphia Water Revenue Bureau. Readings at the property are all actual and progressive, and it is therefore the petitioner's burden to show why those readings are not correct, and he cannot do so. He claims, to my understanding, that there were either holdout tenants or out-and-out squatters in the property at the time he bought it in April of 2022. And as the board is aware, both Pennsylvania state law and water department regulations clearly state that squatter or no squatter, that's irrelevant. The owner has property for all water and sewer debt to the city. And, you know, to the extent that Mr. Kamara claims that the city should have shut the water off because there were squatters, I would emphasize to the board that the city, and especially the water department, is not the property owner's personal debt collector. It's not supposed to get involved in the owner's private disputes with anyone who might be in the property, and we do not shut off water on demand.
Okay, so we're going to turn to Mr. Kamara to hear what was going on at the property. Mr. Kamara, please explain why you're here and what you're looking for from this board.
Yes, so when the property was purchased by me around maybe I believe May, June. So there was squatters in the property. So basically, I had to go to court to get them out the property. So, I had to get an attorney, I had to pay lawyer fees to get them out. So, around June, the city, sent out a shut off notice, I believe, around June. So the water was supposed to shut off in, around, maybe July, I believe. Which the city claimed the water was shut off, and I was still being charged for, July, August, September, October. These are months that I shouldn't have been charged for. Meanwhile, they've already sent out a shut off notice and shut the water off. And, the city, also have been paid, based on records. What, after I got the property, they were paid, I believe, over $6,000. And this property has paid maybe more than 30, 40 to $50,000 just in water to the city, maybe for the past 2, 3 years. The occupants of the property, what they did was they opened the pipes in the basement. They were just letting the water run, which someone has no control over. When the sheriff's officers came in there with me, I believe around November, when we were able to go in the property, when they were kicked out by the sheriff's office, we found the water just open down there. So I don't know how I should be punished and liable for that type of amount. Meanwhile, the city already sent out a shut off notice and shut it off. And if you look at the charges, they're still charged in, June, July, August, September, October. They were still charging maybe $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 a month after they shut off the water, after they shut off notice, after the water was shut off. I went to the to JFK 1400. I spoke to people over there who said that the water was shut off, and they said if they were not responsible over there. So if the water is shut off, why am I still being charged $1,300, $1,400 when the city said they already shut the water off? If anything, at least for June, July, August, September, those should be taken off. Because those are times that they claim they've already shut the water off. And other properties that I live or I own, once the water exceeds $1,300, $1,400, they send some shut off notice and shuts the water off. But this property, they just letting the water go for thousands and thousands of dollars because they're getting paid, whether from the company that sold this property to me or other people, they're just letting it run. And
Okay, well, why don't we turn to the city then and get their information regarding all of these activities, Mr. Safety?
Okay, give me one moment. I have to check one item. Just give me a second. So, sorry, I was just pulling up my notes. First, I mean, I'll need to cross-examine the petitioner as usual. You are Abbas Aliyu Kamara, correct?
yes, sir.
And this property is a single-family row home, correct?
Yes, it is.
And you bought it by a deed dated April 19th, 2022, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to share my screen briefly just to show the deed to the board. I don't think Mr. Kamara will object. Is this the deed, Mr. Kamara?
I believe so.
Now, and between April 19th, 2022 and November 16th, 2022, there were squatters living in the property, correct?
Yes, there were.
Okay. And there was an ejectment suit to remove the squatters in 2022, correct?
Yes.
And you filed the ejectment action a couple days after you received the deed, correct?
I did.
Okay. And if the board pleases, I'm also going to show briefly the docket report.
I actually filed an ejectment before I even received the deed. Right after
Okay.
I purchased it, I paid thousands of dollars to file the ejectment to get them out.
Okay, I'm just going to show the board what I found from the court's records, if I may. Mr. Kamara, I'm now showing the civil docket report. Kamara v. Unknown Occupants, case ID 220402 129. That is to say, April term 2022 2129. Marked as having been filed Tuesday, April 26, 2022. And stating that the unknown occupants reside at 6715 Linmore Avenue. Do you accept that this is the excuse me, do you accept that this is the civil docket report for your ejectment action?
I believe so.
Okay. And so, just to review, it was accepted and marked as filed April 26th of 2022. And it looks like the writ of possession was granted on the 10th of August of 2022. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm gonna stop sharing. I was just entering those. The city would ask that this and the also attached account history statement, payment history statement be moved into evidence. That was also submitted to the board a few days ago.
Yes, accepted.
Okay. So do you know how many squatters were residing in the property in 2022?
Multiple.
Okay.
Multiple.
And you're saying these squatters, they deliberately increased the water usage by opening the pipes, etc. They ran up the usage bill?
Yeah,
Property?
they just left the pot. They just opened everything and just let it run like a river.
Okay. That concludes my cross-examination of the petitioner. If I may now proceed to the direct examination of Ms. Hike.
Yes.
Give me one moment, please. I'm having mouse troubles.
What we would have thought years ago if you had said that, as opposed to now. See, John gets it.
Finally getting my mouse to cooperate.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
You can ask once I've completed my examination of Ms. Hike.
Okay.
How we doing here?
Okay, finally got it to work. So Ms. Hike, have you had a chance to review this customer's account?
Yes,
Where are bills being sent for this account?
to an off-site mailing address. It's 2627 South 66th Street.
Thank you. Has there been any actual usage in the property for the past 6 months?
No,
What charges appeared on the bill for this property during the period April 19th, 2022 through November 16th, 2022?
stormwater service and usage.
Are all readings during that period progressive?
Yes,
Are usage readings in that period actual or estimated?
actual.
Were there any months in that period with zero usage?
No,
Did technicians go out to this property between April 19th, 2022 and November 16th, 2022? I'm speaking here of meter shop technicians.
no,
Did technicians go out to this property after November 16th, 2022?
no.
Can you please describe the payment history on this account?
He's made two payments since purchasing the property.
Thank you.
And what were the amounts?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
What were the amounts of those payments?
Okay, I'm gonna open it now, Ms. Weiss. Let's see. On October 31st, 2022, there was a payment of $1,000. On the same day, there was another payment as well as for $4,580.76.
Thank you.
Yeah, and he was granted a penalty waiver in that regard as well. His penalty waiver was for $120.36.
Thank you, Ms. Height. If I may now continue to a few further questions. If you can please share your, if you can please pull up the customer interaction inquiry.
Yeah.
And scroll down to such that you have a meter work order interaction type dated 8/23/2022 and centered, and if you could share your screen.
Okay. You should be able to see it by now. You see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Now, if you could scroll a little further, are there any other shut off? Close this, please. Are there, if you could scroll a little further, make sure this is at the top of your entry. Are there any further, the meter work order needs to be at the top of the screen. So we're looking at stuff from before.
All right, give me a second.
Okay.
All right.
So the August of 2022 meter work order. Shut off work specifically. Okay. Now, are there any shut off meter work orders from between the time Mr. Kamara bought the property in April of 2022 and this meter work order in August of 2022?
Yeah. Well, there are work orders there, but they're not shut offs now.
Okay. So the first shut off work order as opposed to shut off letter was issued on August 23rd of 2022. Is that how the board should read this?
Yes. When did he purchase the property?
April of 2022.
Yes. So yes.
Okay. And could you open that interaction? And check the completion type. And could you please read out the completion code?
The completion code is a V3. And it actually, the description is just saying that they were unable to access the curb stop because the curb stop was cemented. So this prevented them from being able to actually turn the water off.
Okay. So may I ask, do you know who is responsible for maintaining the curb stop free and clear of any obstructions?
The taxpayer, the petitioner is actually responsible. The taxpayers are
The property owner.
Yes.
Okay. And the curb stop, where is that physically located relative to the property?
It's usually right outside of the property at the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm. So thank you very much. You can
I
stop
ask a question
sharing
about
this.
that, Mr. Sagan? Can I interrupt a second?
Of
Ms. Hyde,
course.
would the property owner been notified at any time that the access to the curb stop needed to be restored for the city, or that it was blocked and the city could not access it? Is there a letter that goes out?
When they go out, they usually leave something there to let them know that they were there, to visit it, and to let them know that there was a defect there.
Okay, thank you.
A defect notice left at the property.
And does the system contain, if I may redirect briefly, does the system contain any information about when this shut off was attempted but not completed?
Give me a second. I can look into the date. Yeah, it was actually requested August 23rd, 2022, but the date at which they came out was actually April 3rd, 2023.
Okay. So in other words, by that point, so this would have been after Mr. Kamara received his writ of possession on August
Yes.
in August of 2022.
Yes.
That concludes my direct examination. You can stop sharing your screen, Taliba.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Kamara, did you have any questions for the city's witness, Ms. Hike?
Yes, it's about the shut off from August because
August of what year?
22, I believe, when they came out to shut the water off. I actually went to 14 and JFK to the water revenue. I did spoke to their representatives over there that claimed that they were unable to access the shut off area, which
Mhm.
I went back and assessed the property. It was accessible. There were no seamen out there. If they wanted to shut it off, they would have been able to shut it off. And and also I was billed for October, and I was billed for September and October and November of 2022, which the representatives at the water revenue on 14 and JFK claimed the water was shut off, and I was still billed. I can see I was billed for September, I believe, $1,317. So I believe that all the bills that I was billed for August, September, October, and by the way, those squatters, even though I was granted writs of possession, I had to wait for the sheriffs to come and get them out. The occupants were removed out that property around November.
Mr. Kamara, did you not testify that when you went in November, water was running?
Yes, it was. No, what I'm alluding to, it was the fact that the gentleman said I was granted writs of possession. What I'm saying is, just because you were granted writs of possession doesn't mean those tenants are moved at.
No, I understand that. I'm trying to get to whether the water was turned off or not. The city's representative testified that while the request may have been made in August of 22, in reality, or in fact, the technicians for the water department did not visit the property until April of 2023. Is that correct, Mr. Safedine?
That was my understanding of Ms. Hike's
Okay,
testimony.
and you have testified, Mr. Kamara, that when you were there in November of 2022, water was actually running. So
yes, it was, but to what the gentleman is saying, it's not accurate. When that letter was sent out, the technicians from the city, they visited that property that month.
okay, but
They-
you know for a
they-
fact that the water was turned off.
Yes, the city said.
And how was it running in November?
I have no idea how it was running, whether it was from the occupants or how it happened. But from my knowledge and what I was told from the water revenue, when I went and paid them a visit, that the water has been shut off, and that was around what was it? Around August, September, October, November. The water was supposed to be turned off by the city. That's what I was told at the water revenue. So what my question is, am I supposed to be responsible, at least am I responsible for the bill for after the city said they shut the water off for August, September, October, November? I think that's a failure on the city's part. If you were saying at the water revenue that the water is shut off and the water is still running, I don't know how I'm supposed to be responsible for that. If you're
Did you have a question for Ms. Hike?
You said what, ma'am?
Do you have a question for Ms. Hike? I mean, I understand what you're saying. You're giving us your argument.
So my question is, am I still responsible, or is the city is gonna be responsible at least for the time that they said they shut the water off from August, September, October, November, for those 4 months?
Okay.
I'm gonna be liable for that.
Okay, I don't think that's a question that she can answer. That's a question that this board is going to answer at some point. Mr. Safedine, did you have additional information?
Yes. I don't have any additional information. I do have a closing since he seems to have given one.
Okay.
As the board is aware, it literally does not matter why water was used in the property to determine the liability of the owner. If the readings are actual and progressive, and there is no evidence, and there is none in this case, to show that the readings were incorrect, the owner is liable. That is the law of Pennsylvania and of Philadelphia. Mr. Kamara is 100% liable for the principal in this case. But even if there was some element of misunderstanding here, it's very clear from the city's records that the city physically could not turn off the water at the curb in 2022 into 2023. And to the extent that Mr. Kamara's testimony is that that he was told that the water was shut off, there is nothing in city records showing this, and it's entirely possible, if not likely, that he simply misunderstood what he was told. It is definitely true that there was an active shutoff order for the property. That is not disputed by the city. But the existence of a shutoff order does not mean that the water is actually shut off. It is, in fact, the owner's responsibility to maintain the current stop to ensure that we can cut the water off when needed. So, even accepting Mr. Kamara's premises is true, and it seems that there was water actually running through the meter into November of 2022 by his own testimony. And that is sufficient to require that he pay the principal. Again, the city is sympathetic to the difficulties presented by squatters, and we're appreciative of the monies that he has paid towards his other water debts on this property. Although he has made few payments, they are substantial. And to that extent, the city would not object to an abatement of penalty, reaffirming the decision of the master. Again, an abatement of lien fee is not within the jurisdiction of this board. But in terms of principle, that cannot and should not be adjusted. There is no basis in law for that. And to the extent Mr. Kamara has a remedy, it is against those occupants. I know that might be cold comfort, but that is what the law of this state provides.
Thank you. Do any board members have any questions before we step aside? No. Hearing none, we're going to take a few minutes to deliberate.
If everyone just stays put, the board is going to go into a virtual room. Paula, everyone is back.
Everyone is here. All right, so the Tax Review Board is back in session. Having reviewed the evidence and deliberated, it is our decision that for the period 4/18/22 to January 16th, 2023, to deny the request for any principal adjustment and to abate the penalties that have accrued on this account. Mr. Kamara, you will receive a letter from the Tax Review Board within 2 weeks with that decision. You will subsequently receive an adjusted bill noting the abatement of penalty that we have provided for. You will have 60 days from that time to be in contact with Water Revenue Bureau representatives to enter into a payment agreement. Either side may appeal to the Court of Common Pleas within 30 days of our decision letter. Can I get a concurrence from my board members?
John O'Connor, I concur.
Nancy Cameron, I concur.
George Matthews, I concur.
Paula Weiss, I concur. So thank you very much for coming in, and good luck with all of that.
All right, thank you.
Have a good day, sir. You'll get your letter in the mail in 2 weeks. Thank you.
And we are going to move on to, yes, case number 1, docket ending 9376 for the property located at 5033 Larchwood Avenue. I'm going to turn to the petitioner. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Paula Weiss, Chair of the Tax Review Board. Could you please identify yourself for our record?
Freddy Zaraku.
Mr. Zaraku, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth?
The truth, nothing but the truth.
Thank you. I'm going to turn to the city representatives who are going to provide us with the information as to what is in dispute. Mr. Safety?
The petitioner is disputing the periods from April 6, 2022 through September 14, 2022. The principal amount is $1,041.53. There is $105.55 in penalties, as well as $106.56 in liens, totaling $1,253.53.
Okay. Mr. Safedine, you want to identify yourself and if you have any opening comments?
Yes. This is yes, this is Kareem Safedine from the City of Philadelphia Law Department, counsel for the City of Philadelphia Water Revenue Bureau. In opening, first, the city would like to draw attention to the fact that the board granted the petitioner's request for consideration a nunc-pro-tunc. The city now objects to this nunc-pro-tunc consideration, not having had the opportunity to object before. As a matter of record, the original petition in this matter is an appeal from an informal hearing decision letter dated October 24th of 2022 and mailed out no later than November 1st of 2022. The petition was filed on April 4th of 2023. Per the instructions on the letter, the appeal petition needed to be filed within 30 days of the letter. And unless the petitioner can affirmatively show he was prevented from receiving the letter until March 4th of 2023 or later, this petition is out of time and should be denied as out of time. On the substance, all readings are actual and progressive. The petitioner admitted in the informal hearing that his tenant at the time was running the water deliberately to retaliate for pending eviction proceedings. And whatever you might think of the tenant's behavior, there is no basis in law to excuse Mr. Aziraku, apologies if I mispronounced it that, to excuse him from paying those charges because the water again passed through the meter.
Okay, Mr. Aziraku, we're going to turn to you. The first issue to address is the city is contesting that your actual petition in front of the Tax Review Board was not filed on time. Is there a reason you can explain for the delay in filing from your informal hearing to your Tax Review Board petition?
The delay was because I was going through the court process trying to evict the tenant, and the tenant was there, and every month he just constantly running the water bill. That's part of the reason why I didn't file, because I was just waiting to get the tenant out of the property before I filed any petition, because she was there and the court process take a long time. I can't control the court process. There's nothing I can do about it. I even called the police because to see if I can stop her from doing what she's doing. The police couldn't help. They said there's nothing they can do about it. So that's the reason why I didn't why going to file when she's keep on doing the same thing? So I was just wanting to get out of the property, the apartment, before I'll file the petition.
Okay. All right, we'll take that into consideration. Is there anything that you would like to tell us specifically about how this water bill came about and what you're looking for from this board?
Well, I wanted to be dismissed because the tenant was intentional, because I'm evicting from the property, running the water. And sometimes I'll be there looking at the meter, the meter will be going first. I have to call the police a couple of times to get them to stop her, but the police couldn't help. Nobody could help. She was just running the water for no reason. Just to.
You understand that that's really a matter between you and your tenant.
But the city wouldn't let me get to the tenant. I would love to go get to the tenant and get out from that place, but I couldn't do that because I have to follow the city law. You know, and there's another way I can do it. I could do it. I could get in there and get out, but I couldn't do that because I have to follow the law. So why should I be penalized for following the law now?
Okay, we're going to turn to the city, Mr. Safety.
Thank you. I'm going to start with a brief cross-examination of Mr. Eziraku. Is that how you pronounce it,
Just
sir?
call me Fred, okay.
Okay, I'll stick with sir. I'm afraid I have to be a little formal for the record.
Okay.
But sir, you own 5033 Larchwood Avenue, correct?
Yes,
And you bought it in 2008, correct?
yes,
This building is a semi-detached house, correct?
yes,
It's divided into more than one unit, correct?
yes.
How many units?
2 units.
2 units, you said?
2 units. 2.
2 units.
Yeah. 2
Okay.
family.
Between April and August of 2022, one of the units was occupied by a tenant, correct?
Yes,
This was the second floor unit, correct?
yes,
And this unit had been tenant occupied for something like 10 years at that point, correct?
yes,
And you served the tenant with a notice to quit on March 29th of 2022, correct?
yeah. Because what the tenant did, for some reason, he brought in a friend, and the friend was living there. So now, for some reason, they have a problem, and he's trying to get her out. She won't get her out. She won't leave because she's threatening the guy's life. So that's why she's stuck in there.
Okay. I'm going to briefly share my screen just to see if you recognize some of these documents. First, this is a deed
Yes,
dated August 8th of 2008.
yes,
Is this the deed to the property?
yes,
And it states 5033 Larchwood on the second page. And there's the consideration if anyone on the board wishes to take a quick look.
and I always pay my water bill. I don't owe the water bill except.
Give me a moment, sir. I just need to run a few things. This here is a account history statement. Have you seen something like this before for the property, sir?
Yeah, from the record that I got from you guys, or you sent to me.
This is the informal hearing decision letter dated October 24th, 2022. Did you receive this letter?
Yeah, yes.
Do you remember about when you received this letter?
I don't remember. I think I have the letter here anyway.
Okay.
I guess.
And this is the case docket for LT 220516 4023.
Yes,
And this is your this is your lawsuit against the second floor tenant, correct?
yes,
And that was filed on May 16th of 2022.
yes,
And you obtained judgment of possession on July 5th of 2022.
yes,
And it looks like there was a petition by by someone living in the property,
yes,
filed on July 29th of 2022. Do you remember having to come to court in July of 2022
yeah.
or August?
always going to the court because she won't leave the apartment.
Okay. And then there was a final disposition in August of 2022.
Yes.
And this here starting on this here on page 33 of the consolidated production. This is the notice to quit, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was sent by your attorney on March 29th of 2022.
Yes.
And that concludes my screen sharing. I would ask the board, I'd move this entire packet, which was sent last week, into evidence.
Accepted.
So just to be clear, excuse me. So you reached an agreement with the occupant of the second floor unit to vacate the unit in August of 2022, correct?
Yes. Through the
And in
court.
August of 20, yes.
Through-
Huh?
Yeah, by the court.
Yes. And also in August of 2022, that's when you requested an informal hearing to dispute the water bills at the property, correct?
Yeah.
And in that informal hearing, you said that while your eviction lawsuit was pending against the tenant of the second floor unit was deliberately running the water to increase the bills as a kind of revenge for the eviction. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that's what you said.
And that was
Okay. So, did you have a plumber inspect your property for leaks?
yes.
Did the plumber give you a report?
Yeah, he gave me a yeah, they gave me a report. Oh, okay.
Does it describe, is it a report describing what was going on or just how much he charged?
It's been a long time. I don't remember, but I do have the.
You have it with you?
Let me check.
Where are we?
Sir, have you found the document?
No, I haven't found it. I think
You
I
have not found it?
I know. I
Okay, let's move on then. Can I quickly establish a survey about the fixtures at the property? How many bathrooms are in the property?
Two.
And each bathroom has a toilet and a faucet, correct?
Yes.
Does
Yes.
each have a bathtub or shower?
Bathtub. Both
Okay,
of them have bathtubs.
okay. Does this property have, how many kitchens are in the property?
Two. Two kitchens.
And each kitchen has a faucet?
Yes.
Does either kitchen have a dishwasher?
None. But
Okay.
then not none. But now they have.
Okay.
it.
Are there any laundry facilities at this property?
Then no.
Okay. Are either or both of the units occupied right now?
Yes.
How many are occupied?
Both of them.
Both are occupied?
Yes.
Okay. I'm now going to turn to my direct examination of Ms. Hike, if Ms. Hike could turn on her camera and microphone. Ms. Hike, have you had a chance to review this customer's account?
Yes.
Has there been any actual usage in this property for the past 6 months?
Yes.
And what charges appeared on the bill for this property from April 6, 2022 through September 14th, 2022?
Stormwater usage and service.
Are all of the usage readings progressive?
Yes.
Were the usage readings actual or estimated?
Actual.
Were there any months with zero usage?
No.
Did technicians go out to this property between April 6th of 2022 and September 14th of 2022?
No.
When was the last time technicians visited this property?
April 5th, 2022.
Did the technicians install or service any part of a meter assembly during the visit of April 5th, 2022?
Yes.
For the record, what are the components of the meter assembly?
The meter and the ERT.
And did the technicians install or service the meter or the ERT at that visit?
Just the ERT only.
And for the record, what does ERT, ERT stand for?
Electronic registered transmitter.
And what does it do?
The meter is mechanical and the ERT is electric.
Mm-hmm. And does what is the function of the ERT in terms of getting the reading to water revenue?
It actually transmits the registered water usage outside of the property to the technicians.
Okay, with some kind of radio wave or something like that?
Yes.
Okay. Could you briefly describe the payment history on this account?
It's sporadic.
That concludes my direct examination of Ms. Hike.
Can I ask one question, Mr. Safedin? Can we establish this, since this is a 2-unit property, is there 1 meter or 2 meters at the
Ms.
property?
Hike? One.
1 meter for both units. Thank you. All right. Sir, do you have any questions for the city's representative?
No, I don't have any question. I just want
Okay.
I wanted to be canceled. I would love to be canceled, that's all.
Okay. Mr. Safedin, any closing?
Just very briefly, again, it doesn't matter, again, why water passed through a meter. If it passes through the meter and there's no challenge to the reading itself, no evidence is given to definitively show that the readings were incorrect, the owner is liable for the principal charges. In addition, because the petitioner's appeal to this board from the decision of the informal hearing was late, the city's position is that this petition is entirely out of time and should be denied on those grounds, and that the prior grant of nunc-pro-tunc consideration should be withdrawn.
So noted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from other board members?
Well, yeah. The
Hearing
question
none.
about-
Sir,
Oh,
did you have a question? All right, we're gonna,
you talking to me?
yes, you have a question?
Well, the question I have, because of if the tenant is sitting there running the water and I couldn't get the tenant by law, take the tenant out of the apartment or get the tenant to stop, what should I do? Because next time I'm going to do something out of the law then to get the tenant to stop if I'm going to be responsible.
Well, we're going to deliberate now based on all the information, but we can't really give you legal advice as to how to handle a tenant. That really would be outside of our purview. So we're going to step aside, Ms. Andre, and we're going to, you just sit where you are. We'll be back.
Okay.
All right, if everyone just hold tight. Thank you.
Off the record, sir, your remedy is to sue the tenant to collect any water and accept.
He didn't even pay the past rent that he was owing. He was owing almost 10,000. He didn't pay. So
I'm just stating what the law says. And with that said, I'm just stating what the law, sir, I'm not interested in debating. I'm just advising you, not even advising you, informing you of what would have been written in general. I'm going to go off camera.
All right, I think we are all back. Tax Review Board is back in session now, having reviewed the evidence and discussed the circumstances of this petition. Sir, it is our decision to abate the penalty that has accrued for the period 4/6/22 to 9/13/22, and to deny the petition as to the principal amount. The testimony that you provided that although it was a tenant you were trying to evict, the water was in fact used. These are actual readings, and therefore not a circumstance where we would be able to remove or reduce the principal. You will get a letter from the Tax Review Board within 2 weeks with that information. You will have 60 days from the date of receiving an adjusted bill to enter into a payment arrangement in order to take advantage of the penalty waiver. Either side may appeal to the Court of Common Pleas within 30 days of our decision letter, should you so desire. Can I get concurrence from my fellow board members?
Nancy Cameron, I concur.
John, you're muted.
George Matthews, I concur.
I think John is concurring, but we can't hear him.
Yes.
John O'Connor, I concur.
There you go. And Paula Weiss, I concur. Thank you very much for coming in. You will get a letter with our decision. And we have one additional matter on our docket for today, case number 2 for the property at 1028 West Silver Street, docket number ending 9414. I understand from our executive director, Ms. Andre, that no one is present in our office or on Zoom for this matter.
That is correct.
Mr. Safedine, is there anything you can tell us? Have you heard from this petitioner?
We have not, no.
Okay. The history of this, you know what, it's on the docket now. Hold on.
I know, how nice.
Ooh. All right, so this is actually a rehearing.
This is the first listing before the board.
First listing for the board. I will recommend that this be denied for failure to appear.
I
John
concur
O'Connor,
with that
I
decision.
concur.
I concur.
All right, so
Nancy
concurrence
Cameron.
from, thank you, Nancy, from John O'Connor, and from George Matthews also concurring. Paula Weiss, I concur. I believe this completes our docket for today. So thank you, everyone. We appreciate
Thank you all.
everyone's
I don't know
work.
if you noticed, I had a little helper behind me who went sound asleep.
Oh,
So we
you
were very
boring, Dylan.
vigilant in here.